speaking about Ohio State, the national champions, Ryan Day, who did a phenomenal job. Everybody doubted him last season, but they thought it was over, ready to throw the baby out with the bathwater. We were down in Atlanta, and we saw the confetti come down for Ohio State. But speaking of, you talk about Steve Sarkisian losing a lot of people. Ryan Day lost a lot in the recent NFL draft. How do they bounce back? What do they need to do? And what side of the ball should they primarily focus on? Should it be offense or defense?
Well, again, when you lose 14 guys to the NFL draft, there are pieces to recover from. And I think on the defensive side, with Matt Patricia, the new coordinator, the good news is you're building your defense around arguably the best player in college football on that side of the ball, Caleb Downs. And they have depth of recruiting and those kind of things. So it'll be maintaining pass rush experience. Going up against Arch in Texas is a tough first assignment, even at home. So we'll see how that younger defense fares. But Caleb Downs, man, the range on him is incredible. And then the offensive side, it's the same speech. Yeah, we lost a lot of guys, but we still have Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate is what they are going to say. Julian Sand looked pretty good in the spring game too. So when you have that much talent, I think C.J. Donaldson's a key transfer from West Virginia, and they'll rebuild the offensive line. My long-winded way of saying they're going to be really good again and right back in the national championship hunt. They are a program that can absorb, as crazy as it sounds, losing 14 guys to the NFL.
Losing Travion Henderson, obviously Quinshawn, both going almost back-to-back in the NFL draft. That's how good they were as far as having successful seasons. What is the running game going to look like in your estimation for Ohio State?
Well, James Peoples got some experience last year, and I mentioned Donaldson. He's trimmed down a little bit. He was effective at West Virginia. So you got those two, and I think Ohio State provided a little bit of a model that we know about. I mean, it's not new, but, the fact that Quinshawn and Travion, both lead backs, were willing to share and kind of manage their carries and preserve some of their NFL shelf life, quite honestly. And then they go to the Cleveland Browns and New England Patriots. I think that was one of the better stories on draft day that didn't get a lot of attention because we were all paying attention to a certain quarterback from, the first through the fifth round. But I do think that was a good story.
No, I agree. I think also, too, the one thing I believe you mentioned was about Ohio State and what are they going to specifically look like post-national championship? Because as you know, the bullseye is going to be bigger. Obviously, the players are not the same. You saw the loss of Jack Sawyer. You mentioned all the other players that they lost as well. How do they mentally prepare for this season, knowing that this is pretty much almost a brand new team, minus Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs?
In some ways, the pressure's off. Like they've won a national title. You see the banner when you walk into the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. So that, that piece of the puzzle's over. They've won. Good for them. The talent, the competitiveness. When you go to Ohio State spring practice, you just see how competitive it is. These are the best of the best, 4- and 5-star recruits. Now, the one thing we do know that's hanging over the program is the Michigan thing, losing 4 in a row. I looked this up this morning, actually. They haven't lost 5 in a row to Michigan since the 1920s. So there will be a tremendous amount of pressure on that game when they go to Ann Arbor. Obviously, Michigan as a program, ups and downs last year, but they closed on a very high note, beating Ohio State, beating Alabama, welcoming Bryce Underwood there. And this is a tremendously talented 5-star quarterback that it looks like is going to start right away.